Studio Pixel's Cave Story is one of my favorite games. Created, designed, illustrated, scored, and programmed by one person, Daisuke Pixel Amaya, it is often credited for sparking the indie game revolution of the last decade. It is a meticulously crafted and thoroughly fun non-linear action game with a good story, strong characters, and wonderful 16-bit sensibilities. Cave Story has gone on to be ported and enhanced across several different platforms, and many fans, including myself, have been eagerly awaiting his next big release. In May of 2014, nearly 10 years after Cave Story, our wishes finally came true. With additional help from Kiyoko Kawanaka, his latest game, Kero Blaster, has arrived. Kero is the Japanese equivalent of Ribbit in English, and the title itself sounds like a play on Ghetto Blaster, those giant boomboxes from the 80s. Fitting, given the old-school graphical and musical stylings of this game. Those going into Kero Blaster expecting Cave Story 2 may be slightly disappointed. If Cave Story was Amaya's tribute to games like Super Metroid and Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Kero Blaster is his Mega Man and Super Castlevania 4. Shorter and linear, but just as fun and entertaining. At its heart, Kero Blaster is a side-scrolling action platformer with run-and-gun sensibilities. You play a no-nonsense, blue tie-wearing frog who has an acquirable double jump ability, a sweet bomber jacket for added protection, 4 upgradable weapons, and various other health boosts which can be purchased at shops throughout each of the game's 7 stages. Your frog controls well, although I found him to be a little too, dare I say, slippery at times, but rarely did the slightly loose controls lead to my demise. His double jump controls do take some getting used to, and will feel more natural once you understand that double jumping straight up takes you higher than diagonal ones. I appreciated being able to use my Xbox One controller to play this game. I remapped my controls, preferring to use the bumpers to cycle through weapons, and away I went. The weapons at your disposal also have a range of pros and cons. Some have a limited reach, some are better in specific environments, while others are very potent but concentrated, like Contra 3's laser versus spread fire. All of them are fun to use and look great. I utilized each of them up until the very end, which shows just how much thought Amaya put into their design. Most of the game's levels are uniquely designed, with some asset reuse occurring during the game's final act. This is all part of the game's story, however, and it works extremely well in showcasing how far your little green hero has come. Each level is fun to explore, and figuring out the best way to dispatch enemies is one of the game's best qualities. There are also a good number of secrets to uncover, including a 5th weapon, which takes a New Game Plus playthrough to acquire. Speaking of New Game Plus, like many other games, you can play through the levels again with all of your gear. In Kero Blaster's case, however, you'll start over with only 1 heart and no cash, but hey, it's a small price to pay for looking so cool. In fact, New Game Plus is where the game truly comes to life. It's certainly fun the first time, but going through the levels again, without any of the cutscenes to slow things down, and power it up, is quite literally an absolute blast. There are also some extras to be had for those who play through the game at least twice. Kero Blaster's visuals are wonderful. The frog you control is charmingly simplistic and flat-shaded, as are many of the creatures and characters you'll run into throughout the game. While they may look rather basic in screenshots, every character is animated nicely, with tons of personality, vibrant colors, and memorable design. The world graphics are matched perfectly to its inhabitants as well, with excellent foreground and background separation, clear platforms, and smoothly scrolling playfields. Kero Blaster's music and sound effects are also very good, and classic game music fans will find a lot to enjoy here. It's not as uniquely synthy as traditional 8-bit soundtracks tend to be, but it still has its strong points, with certain tracks sticking in your head long after you've turned the game off. In terms of difficulty, Kero Blaster feels just about right. It's surprising how easy it is to take damage, and even with a decent amount of heart containers and reserves, I died quite a bit. Checkpoints throughout each level are generous, but if you lose all of your lives, you have to start the stage over from the beginning. Fortunately, you don't lose anything in the process. A game over can sometimes even be a good thing, as you're able to gather more money retracing your steps, allowing easier and faster upgrades to your frog's deadly arsenal. I did run into some annoying bugs, like the fact that I had to manually terminate it with Windows 7's Task Manager in order to properly close it. Additionally, a very minor point is the English font. It gets the job done, but I don't like the fact that the font pixels are smaller than the ones in the game itself. They don't match, so hopefully this is something that can be updated in a future patch to really make everything cohesive. The interface is also simplistic, with no display or sound options, except for being able to choose the window size. Even going full screen didn't fill my entire monitor, possessing a dull gray border around all four sides. Kero Blaster is short, at just about 5 hours for 2 complete playthroughs. However, it's the kind of game you can't stop until you're done, and even after that, it compels you to come back and discover all of its many secrets. In closing, while it may not have the historical significance that Cave Story did, it's still a very fun game that represents all the best qualities of Amaya's incredible talent.